Hi, welcome to the Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast. I'm Justin Janowski, your host. I started my Christian coaching business, Faith to Influence, about 6 years ago, and I was hoping that I could make it as a coach. I remember feeling nervous and scared, though, and wondering whether or not I was good enough. God had big plans. He helped me build a business that collected over $250,000 in revenue my first year, beyond what I could have imagined at the time. And I've learned a few things along the way that have been super helpful for other coaches. Right now, I spend most of my time working with Christian coaches and entrepreneurs, helping them with their business model and pricing, their offers, their mindset around sales and money, and to help them develop high integrity, high converting sales strategies. That's what this podcast is all about. Today, I want to talk to you about the 3 lead generation strategies that are most common in the marketplace. And I want you to know that if you want to be a successful coach and entrepreneur, you're going to have to choose one or more of these strategies. And there probably are going to be some of you who feel resistance to all 3. You're like, that feels hard. That feels scary. I don't know if I want to do that. And that's normal. Almost every successful coach, entrepreneur, and leader I've ever known has felt resistance to prospecting, to lead generation strategies, to creating sales calls, and to sales in general at some point in their career. That said, you're going to have to do it scared. You're going to have to move forward in one of these 3 areas, or you won't move forward. You'll be stuck at the starting line. And so I just want to have real talk with you here about these 3 strategies so you can say, okay, I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be scary at times. I know that there's going to be a learning curve. But if I'm going to build, I have to commit in one of these 3 areas. I want you to understand this because once you make that commitment and you start taking the proper actions, business is going to grow. It's going to become easier. It has to start here, though. Okay, so here they are. Here are the 3 lead generation strategies that can work for you. The first one that I actually think is the most easy strategy for most people is to work through the relationships that you already have to create sales opportunities and gain clients, especially if you've shown up in your network as somebody who's been generous, who's given to people, who's respected people, who's treated them well. When you reach out to somebody and ask them to get on a Zoom coffee chat with you, or you tell them a little bit about your business and ask if they'd get on a call to learn more, they're going to say yes. The first thing I did when I started Faith to Influence was make a list of like 100 or 150 people I knew who I thought could either be ideal clients or referral partners for Faith to Influence. And I started to send text messages to those people saying, hey, here's what I'm doing now. I'd love to get on a call with you to share more and see if it might be a fit for you or someone you know. And I sent those messages. And honestly, before I was through that list, I had over $100,000 in revenue booked and my business was off into the races. Now, I had worked hard over years to build my reputation in the marketplace, to serve people generously, and I had developed my skill set. So it was easy for people to receive me, and it still felt scary. But I had to do that. And I built most of my business directly through my own network, networking to meet new people, and through referrals from the people I was talking to. I would ask everyone for referrals. Do you know 1 or 2 other people I should be talking to who might be a fit for this? Because you already have trust with your natural market of relationships, it's easiest to make sales there. It's easiest to get referrals there. And it's easiest to book calls in general. Everything is easiest with that group. Now, that said, even though it's easiest to work through that group, by the way, you can also book speaking opportunities for people in that group that can connect you to those sorts of things. Even though it's the easiest, most efficient, most effective way, for some people, it's the absolute scariest way to build their business. Because when it's relationships that we already have, people that we already care about, people that we know, we care about their response to us a lot more. It can feel more personal. It can feel more sensitive. Fear of judgment, rejection can be higher with this group of people. A lot of people don't make it in sales or entrepreneurship because they're too afraid to reach out to those contacts and have meaningful conversations. I want you to know that if you're doing sales the right way, it's not like you'd be asking those people for something bad. It's not like you'd be forcing them into a situation that is intimidating or doesn't feel good for them or is unnatural or is greedy or something like that. If we do sales the right way, it feels like coaching with an invitation at the end of it. Sales done right feels like love. Sales when done right feels like leadership. You can absolutely get on those calls and receive yes or no and love and respect your prospects and friends and contacts, whether they say yes or no. And as long as you do that, they'll love and respect you whether they say yes or no. So for some of you, you need to learn a high integrity sales process that you feel confident and comfortable about before you can contact those people. I get it. But at some point, you're going to have to start reaching out to people to book sales calls because that's the only way to get new clients for most people. That's the easiest path. Relationships you already have and building new existing relationships and reaching out to those people to have Zoomed coffee chats or sales calls. The second avenue, if you're like, I just don't want to, I know some people are just like, I just can't do it. I can't reach out to my network, or my network, like they're just, yeah. Okay, there's probably some mindset stuff there. We could probably work through that. Maybe you should come back to this idea. But if you were going to do something else, a second way to do it is organic online social efforts. This is a lot slower. It's a lot less efficient, but it can work. The path for the organic online efforts is through starting your own podcast. It's through reaching out to podcast hosts and sending them emails and asking if you could be a guest on their podcast. So you can make a list of people you don't know who are running podcasts or running conferences, and you could ask to be a speaker. And you can develop that process. You're just going to have to send a lot of messages to get the opportunities booked. You could also join social media groups, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, etc. And you could send messages to the people in that group as they share in the chat or on the feed of the group. Like they're sharing a win, you could heart their win. You could comment on it, say congratulations. If somebody asks a question, you could aim to answer it. You could provide value in the group by sharing ideas. And you could, over time, if you make a post and somebody comments on it, you could send them a message and say, hey, I'd love to learn more about you. Share what I'm doing and see how we can support each other, and get coffee chats like that. Or if somebody else makes a post and that resonates and you comment on it, you could send them a message. Say, hey, I loved your post about XYZ. That's really interesting to me. I'd love to learn more, share what I'm doing, and just see how we can support each other. So you have to have the coffee chat approach here. You don't want a blind, cold message person after person after person from a group. That's how you get thrown out of the group. It's how you get a bad reputation. But if you show up in those social environments to build relationships, and then you invite people to calls, you could create opportunity there. You can also send messages. A place like LinkedIn, it's more socially acceptable to just search for people who are in your target audience and send them a message and try to open the door. The challenge here is with somebody in your personal network who you send a message to asking if they'll get on a call. For most of you, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5 will say yes to a call if you have the right language. So it's pretty efficient. If it's cold messages on LinkedIn, you might, instead of getting 1 out of 3, might only get 1 out of 100 to agree to a call, or 1 out of 50, or 1 out of 75. And, who knows what it's going to be for you. It depends on the messaging and your relation to the people, but it's just significantly more volume of efforts to get the same results. The other thing that you can do is you can just post on social media, on Instagram, and you can become an influencer. You can post on YouTube and become a YouTube influencer, somebody who's got a lot of subscribers. It just takes a significant amount of time and a very consistent, concerted effort over a long period of time to get results with those kinds of strategies. So that probably means daily social media efforts, daily YouTube videos. I've seen and heard of people doing this, like 1 year, 2 years of a video every single day. If you're going to do this, it has to be a very targeted audience that you're speaking to, and you need to be solving very pervasive problems for that audience, the kinds of problems that people would search for, the kinds of problems that people would stop the scroll for. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is for me. It's solving my exact problem. That's just what I need. So you can do that organic social effort of trying to get people to come to you by posting, or sending messages to other people. But it's just going to be a high volume approach, and it's going to be a lot slower. It is an option though. So if you're like, I don't want to talk to the people I know, but you're willing to be a social media influencer and like spend significant time there, that's a secondary choice. And you could choose to do that instead. Some people are, of course, going to combine those two strategies a little bit and do a little bit of option A and a little bit of option B. The third choice, if you're like, oh, no, I can't contact people I know. That's scary. I'm fear judgment. My people aren't going to buy. Insert story here. And I can't be a social media influencer. I don't want to be on video. I don't want people to see me. In fact, my family and friends might see my videos. So that goes back to the problem of the first issue, right? Is that outreach through organic social media. If you're like, I can't possibly do either one of those things, there's only one more option, which is paid efforts, paid marketing efforts. So you could run Facebook ads. You could run Instagram ads. The different thing about this versus something else is like, you don't need to be recording new content again and again and again. You create one great ad, and there's probably going to be some testing. You probably want a few different creatives. You're probably going to have to test the targeting. You're going to have to figure that out. But like, you could theoretically speaking have one or two ads that just run on repeat, and they're not really content based. It's like, it's copy or written word based to influence your ideal client so that they click and buy, or click and book a sales call, or click and take the next step. The challenges for most new coaches and entrepreneurs in this is like, for me, I think it's like a phase 2, phase 3. You're already running a successful business. You've got more cash flow than you need. Then invest it in that. I like that for scale from 6 figures to 7 figures, especially. It's a strategy that most people are using in that environment when they're trying to take that next big leap. And we use it now too. But for the new coach, oftentimes the challenge with this is skill set on targeting, copywriting, and sales pages, funnels, technology. Like, there's so many little pieces to getting that equation to work. And you either need to do it yourself, which requires a tremendous amount of training and time to learn and do well, and a lot of testing, or you need to hire someone to do it, which costs a fair amount of money. Oftentimes, this is an expensive task to hire someone else to do for you. The other challenge is, beyond whatever you might spend on a training for yourself or hiring somebody else to do it, you also have to spend the money each month on ads. Usually, if people are running an ad, they're spending money every single day on the ad. And to me, unless you're ready to spend $5,000 to $10,000 in testing and learning and development before getting a significant return, you probably shouldn't do it. It's probably not responsible to do, because for most people, it's going to be a $5,000 to $10,000 window at least of learning and testing and trying to figure things out, narrow the targeting, etc., before they get considerable results. And for many people, even beyond the $5,000 or $10,000 range, it's really difficult to get results. And if they're getting results, they might be breaking even from an expense standpoint. So the profitability of the business is still zero. They're spending $2,000 a month on ads. They're spending $1,000 a month to get somebody to run the ads, and they're making $3,000 a month, and they're a break-even business. That can be an equation that happens for a lot of people. Now, if you are ready for that phase, you're ready for the testing, the expense, you've got a skill set around it, etc., you can absolutely do that. And the other reality is, some new entrepreneurs and coaches have other financial means. So even if their business is at ground zero and just getting started and you want to launch, if you've got considerable income through other income sources and you're ready and willing to invest the money, it's absolutely viable. You can find an expert to do it. You can get the help you need. You can invest the money, and you can grow your business that way. Many of the new entrepreneurs and coaches I talk to just don't have the financial means to tackle that first. And so if that's the case, and it's not possible financially for you to choose that path, you have to come back to path 1 or path 2, which is working through your relationships or organic social media marketing. In order of ease, working through relationships, super easy. Organic social media marketing, paid social media marketing, really difficult, requiring a lot of testing and a lot of time and a lot of effort to get them to work. They will work eventually for most people, and we do all three now. Like a fully developed business with team, someday if you want to scale, you might do all three. I'm not trying to suggest that any of these are bad, but I want you to have clear understanding and expectation of what these 3 paths look like, and I want you to be able to now say, okay, what am I willing to consistently do? Will I reach out to my network? Will I ask for referrals? Will I meet people and have calls? Will I do social media efforts on YouTube or Instagram or wherever else again and again and again and again consistently? Or will I invest the money needed to grow through ads? You have to be a yes to one of those 3 questions. If you're not a yes to one of those 3 strategies and questions, the next question is, do I really want to be in this business? And I know that's not fun to think about, but I want to be honest that not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone's meant to be a coach. It's possible that you could be a coach on someone else's team. It's possible that you'd be better off with a job if you're not willing to take action in one of these 3 areas. That's the hard truth that I don't oftentimes want to talk about on a podcast, because I want to encourage everyone and keep the dream alive. But to keep your dream alive for real, you got to choose one of these 3 areas and begin to take consistent action. That's the way to make sales, so you can grow your income, grow your impact, get more testimonials, and get to the place that business, prospecting, and sales become significantly easier. I hope this is helpful. If you would like to get our 10-step sales process for free, so you know how you would run a sales call with these types of prospects from any of these three areas, go to www.goodsalespdf.com. We'll share a lot of great content there on how you can hold a high integrity, high converting sales call. God bless you all. I'll talk to you more soon.